we're live. So, hello everyone. It's us again, the channel of Half-Life 2 Project Beta, and we welcome you on our next stream, which is dedicated to a mod. Well, it was only announced and it wasn't yet released, but we will explain it to you later. And today it will be me, Vitoy, and two more people who are Trace and one of the authors of Dark Interval, Shift.
Hello.
So what we will stream to you today is a mod called Dark Interval Older Build, or wait, I think it's called Dark Interval Old Build mod. And as you may think by the name of this mod, it's a mod by original Dark Interval authors, but no, it's not. It actually was developed by the developer of Cremation, the author of Cremation. I think his nickname is Silent Sabinum, or well, I'm not sure if I pronounced his nickname correctly, but anyway. You all probably heard about the mod called Cremation. So what he did is he took the maps from older builds of Dark Interval from around 2010-2013, and he modified them and connected them and added some of his own work, and basically he restored whole first chapters of the old Half-Life 2 storyline. And I guess let's begin. Another thing is how he took the old maps and builds from of Dark Interval is that the original author of Dark Interval, Escalator, recently, I think it was last year, and we even streamed it as well. He released basically everything he had from his mods from around those dates, from 2010 to 2013. And since we're joined today by one of the developers of the mod, probably she will give us some insights, at least what she knows about this and that from this era.
Yes, because the first thing we need to note is that I wasn't in the developer team when these maps were being made. I only joined in 2017, but I actually compiled the original old build of Dark Interval out of old materials and released it. Because we released the map sources and the old build. And this is that build, but modified.
And you should be able to see the game now. Alright, so let's begin with the first chapter, which is called Brave New World. I think it was the original name Escalator gave it to the first chapter. Is it right?
Kind of, yeah.
And also, from what I understand, mod's name was different back then. It was called
it was settled down very early, but it had a few very early names, like the air conditioner, back when it wasn't a full recreation, and a couple more, but Dark Interval name settled down very quickly.
Mr. Freeman, sorry to keep you waiting.
I guess you can hear G-Man, and all these dialogues were taken from another mod called Substance.
It is a different
and Substance mod released in, I think, 2005, so it's very old.
Yeah, it was one of the first mods to be released for Half-Life 2.
And I have decided to simply show you.
And from what I understand, this intro, well, at least everything around us was made by Escalator. not by...
Oh, the skybox is different and color correction is missing, but otherwise, yeah.
Things like the taste of fresh air. But you
I see the question in the chat box. Will there be any chance of Steam release?
If we're talking old Dark Interval, no. If we're talking new Dark Interval, it's not on our mind right now. So, but it's very unlikely.
That scene just now looked very much like the old menu for Half-Life 2. Yes, that was taken from the park in New York.
That's it.
I don't quite understand why he started a new map with this Demon sequence. I think he gave some explanation on the Russian stream, but I don't remember it. There was some technical difficulties. Also, I think it's the first time we can play a mod with an almost proper wasteland train ride implemented into full chapter.
Shadows and the like. Yeah.
It's such a popular concept that it's strange that so few people actually realized it.
Oh no, I'm stuck.
It's because of things like this.
Yes,
yeah.
It's pretty difficult technically to make a proper wasteland train ride.
So
oh no.
Yeah. Oh. In that case, it's kind of cool that Valve actually, with the first scene in their first game, started with a train ride, something that nobody ever was able to replicate ever since.
You mean the first game, first Half-Life?
Yeah, I mean, you got stuck there too, but they did the hardest thing that you can do in Source. It's the first thing they did.
And as you can
Half-Life
see,
2 was supposed to have NPCs inside the train, and
yeah,
that's not very good on Gold Source.
I like how close it is to what Mark Laidlaw described in his little vignettes. Maybe it's not one-in-one, but it's pretty close, I think.
I could see something that was influenced by the coast of the retail Half-Life 2, with the car and the little house. APC, I mean.
And now we're entering the Sortie Station, which was also described by Mark Laidlaw. With cremators and stalkers, you will see.
And seeing as Mark Laidlaw, if anybody didn't know, now has a YouTube channel where he narrates his short stories, and also he makes music. That's the other thing. It would be really cool if he could narrate his own vignettes of Half-Life 2, but of course we all know that he's very tired of this universe. He wants to move on.
Well, unfortunately, technically they don't belong to him. Everything he done while he was working at Valve belongs to Valve, so he can't really share it without...
I think the ones that are already in open access could be read by him.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think they would mind. But the problem is that he would not want to.
Here's another little scene described by Mark Laidlaw. With a citizen running from Metropolis and them shooting him to death.
And many people are indeed surprised that he has a YouTube channel.
One of the things I'm really proud of is that Mark Laidlaw himself commented one of my videos on this channel.
Iki Pop?
Yes. He
that
commented
one.
Iki Pop and said, "Bless you."
Bless you. Yeah.
And I'm really proud of it. So here we are at City 17 train station, and I think this is one of the first things that weren't made by Escalator and edited by Psilocybinum.
Because this was not in the original.
This section of train station was edited by the author of Cremation.
There are bits and pieces that look familiar, of course, but it's arranged.
Question in the chat: was this mod originally gonna be a creation of Half-Life 2 beta story? I think Shift should answer that. It was.
It stayed that way?
No, I mean, in the very beginning, it was supposed to be only some chapters or one chapter, like the air exchange.
At the very start, it was only air exchange and City 17, and back then, Accelerate didn't know how to make his own maps from scratch, so he was fixing the Worldcraft map pack, but then it evolved into something different.
And now everything is made from scratch entirely.
Based on a concept art.
So this piece of map, this is the original train station made by Accelerate. And I think there were even some screenshots of it on ModDB page. Of course, they're gone now, but back in the days. And as you can see, it's based on Racing the Bar concept arts.
And we have the man himself in the chat.
There is also an updated version of this map in the release of the old Raising the Bar mod, where it's changed a bit.
Accelerate is asking something, but I can't really read because I can't read.
Would you be happy with a Wasteland train ride presented as multiple maps with loading screens, or rather a more compact map, shorter but without interruptions? Personally, I would like more stuff, you know. Of course, for normal people who play Half-Life 2 as just a game, they would like shorter stuff, but for me as a fan, I want to see as much of the universe as I can. And I think this mod is made for, you know, hardcore fans, so yeah.
And here's another thing added by Psilocybinum. If you've played City 17 mod, you may remember it, because it's from Manhunt Arcade.
Yeah, the Escalator was one of the best things made in Source Engine.
Victoria, did you make them originally? Or did you fix them?
What? The Escalator?
The escalators, yeah.
It was made by my friend Maelstrom, and I really like how he made it, because you may think that each of these stair piece is separate, but really it's just made with three different pieces. One piece is this these 3 pieces of, I don't know how to call them actually. So anyway, it just gets teleported. When it's 3 funk doors and they get teleported each time they
Black
fully
source
closed.
magic.
Yeah, so basically how real escalators work.
They don't even get teleported. I just remembered. They actually there's point template and it spawns a new funk door every time.
Oh god. People in chat are really excited about the escalators.
If you want this escalator, Maelstrom is not against of using it. You may download City 17 mod, which is on our website, and DMFs are in the maps folder.
Very nice sky here and the fog.
So that's what Shift was talking about. It's still City 1701 from Half-Life 2 WC map pack, but it's very, very heavy modified by Escalator.
It's still one of earlier versions of that map, because we still have that map in the final Dark Interval release, but it's almost entirely remade.
Question in the chat, how much did the Cremation dev edit?
Well, he added pretty much, but still it's mainly...
Mostly maps are intact, I think.
Yes.
The easiest way would be to get the original clean old build and compare.
So he mostly just made it more coherent to connect better the maps. Yeah.
And also he changed some of the models. Whoa, sorry dude.
I don't know if it's the same for anybody else, but for me, when people put retail scripts and voice acting, for example, into the beta, it just like throws me out of the immersion.
And as you can see, for some reason, Escalator, and yes, it was on original maps made by Escalator, he refused to add terminal map in the mod. I'm not sure why.
Why he separated them?
No, why he didn't add D1 terminal on City 17 chapter? At least on the older builds.
I'm not sure.
And here you can see another room, and the developer of this mod, Psilocybin, specifically said that it's one of his favorites. And yeah, it was made by after one of the old Half-Life 2 concept art made by Antonov.
Were you one of the first persons to fix this, Vitoy? Fix the pistons?
Again, it was not me, but Maelstrom.
And how do they work exactly? Can you tell me? I always had a curiosity.
From what I remember, they're made with some fist thrusters and something else, and they're parented to this moving brush, and there's fist thruster or something attached here, from what I remember. And yeah, they were originally fixed by Maelstrom for my E3 2002 map pack, which was released in 2010.
When you say final build, do you mean Dark Interval is almost done, or that it's the most recent build? I mean the most recent build that is available publicly on our ModDB page, because the mod is not even half done at this point.
what's interesting is that this is Civic Accelerator was one of the first people to add stenographer proper models into his mod, because back then, back in 2010 and so, they didn't exist, the proper remake for this model. I remember only Team Gaben made something related to them, but they weren't very close to the original model.
And of course Team Gaben never released anything,
yes,
except that small patch.
That's
These
the
stenographers were eventually cut from the mod because they needed good animations. You can see that the one they have is rather mechanical, and it's very repetitive, so it didn't look very good. But this model was donated to other projects. You can find it in Instant, and I think something else.
I think the Half-Life 2 beta community is mostly, not everyone, but mostly is really great because of people like Vito and Civox and people who give their work to anybody else who wants to make some mod. Because in some other games it's completely opposite. People try to make anybody else, you know, to not use their own work. So it's like shattered and it's terrible.
You probably just don't remember the early era of restoring Half-Life 2 beta. Because everyone worked for themselves and they didn't share anything.
And there's a lot of lost content.
Yeah, there's a lot of egoism, but still there's a lot of good people in this community.
But anyway,
I remember like a decade ago in Minecraft mods, mod makers actually used to write scripts that would break your game, break your mods if the mods of their competitors were also installed. So I'm glad that's not something we have to experience here.
I totally agree with you, because take for example Mega Patch 4. Pretty much everything in it was a collective effort of the community.
Yeah.
Because people like Shift and many other, well, they're all in I don't remember in which exactly file. I think it's in the installation window. They're mentioned. So you can see a pretty long list of people who donated their works to Mega Patch 4, and it's again a pretty long list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. It gives you a warm feeling inside.
And as you can see here, this is the only piece of the old terminal. Well, it wasn't called terminal back then, it was called CT1701. But anyway, it's the only piece of terminal which is in this build of Dark Interval. Well, not exactly this build of Dark Interval, I mean the old build from around 2010 and 2013. Otherwise, the map was, well, it wasn't there.
Yeah, this is really dark. Oh, there's a
well,
ladder. I never noticed it.
It's Dark Interval after all.
I'm not sure if this area is in the original maps or if it was... Oh, I think it was added because...
It could be.
There's a wall just across the rail tracks on the ground, and that's strange.
Yes, it totally could be because, well, Psilocybinum said he added some of his own stuff in it.
Give me a second, I'll be right back.
So here we are at CT1703. Well, the map based on it, of course.
It's heavily based on it, still.
But Civic Accelerator added very, very much details.
We are in the construction site now?
Yes.
Okay.
This is inspired, the garage behind you, by one of missing information screenshots, by the way. The one on your left, with glowing windows.
That's
a map
right.
they never released.
I remember.
As usual.
That's something that you guys kept for the future release, if I remember the screenshots correctly. You have a very similar garage there.
But the map is very different.
Yeah, I mean the general concept.
They said there will be no new content in the initial Steam release, if it will ever happen, even.
Well, there would be a few different textures and fixes like that. I actually made some new textures for the Borealis, like adding bump maps and cube maps to their wall textures of Borealis hull, but I'm not sure if they even use them.
Oh, nice.
So tell us.
Oh, this is from the final mod.
These posters, they were made by you or by...
I made them for New Dark Interval in 2017. So they are not from the old. And they're actually, this is from Raising the Bar Redux. And Arthur said on the previous stream that he just found it online.
On DeviantArt, yes.
He didn't know where it came from. But I'm pretty sure it's from Rising the Bar.
All right. If you guys, if some of you play Stalker mods,
if I'm wrong, someone correct me.
If you play some of Stalker mods, you will get some warm feeling, because this is just like Stalker mods. They just take stuff from other mods and put together.
Sivoxalary is asking. He actually wrote. I really want to forward the notion of open source equals good, but sometimes you'll be uncomfortable with the work that's not yet fully as you want it to be, so not everything can be immediately shared. And next he asks, we'll have epic Vitoi casserole time-based adventure in this stream?
Casserole, I just didn't get it.
I think he's just...
Are we having Vitoi boiling potatoes off screen?
No. I already had...
I remember that the pot. Yes, I remember from the Russian stream.
For everyone who didn't understand anything, on the Russian-speaking stream last week, while I was streaming, I was preparing my dinner at the same time. But this time I already had dinner, so it's not a problem anymore.
It's good. This is good. This is good beta content. Yes. And Shiv, tell us how did you manage to join the Half-Life community in the first place, the beta community?
Well, the thing is, I played the beta before beta community was a thing, because my dad accidentally bought the 2CD beta disc back in 2004.
Oh yeah, that's a classic in...
And I played it, and I had no idea what it was, and about 4 years later, I've read about it in a magazine. A game magazine that there was some cut concepts, and I thought back, oh, that's what it was. And then I found the... First I found the Half-Life Inside site, the Russian fan site, and then the Project Beta site. It was in 2008, 2009.
For the people that are confused, the pirates in our countries, in our beautiful post-Soviet countries, put anything on discs. So in 2003, 2004, there were a lot of discs on sale in different shops that had Half-Life 2, but in reality it was just like the stolen beta files. They weren't fixed or anything, it was just what you would download, and it would not have any cohesion.
And I still have this CD, I'm actually holding it right now.
Oh, you can upload. What does it have? Does it have anything changed, or is it just the Half-Life 2 unknown?
That's the
And
thing,
a very tiny launcher, and that's about it.
Yes.
So you still have to go to the console to open the maps.
A bunch of stuff like Russian translation and launchers for maps, and that's how this myth about special Russian beta was born. Because people in the West, they were spreading. I remember it was a wild thing. They were spraying some information about special, different Russian beta, which is more full. But
I think it's because someone made a torrent with beta fixes and named it Russian beta, and everyone thought that's what's on the disc.
Yeah, it could be, and it contained completely fan-made maps like Ifri Gurulas.
Yeah, it was a big thing in our countries then. Like, they would put a bunch of mods on GTA Vice City and call it Vice City Deluxe, and I think everybody, Russian or Ukrainian or whatever, they played it. They know what it is. It was a different world.
Mods for Half-Life 2 on discs too, but I lost those.
And 2008, I think it was the main year for everybody joining. Around that time, I joined in 2007. I don't know why, but it's like most people I know, 2007, 2008.
Sivox is asking, what the hell is Gurulas even? Gurulas is the nickname of the guy who made the map.
Yes, there was some competition made by hl2world.com website, even before Half-Life 2 was released. So they made competition for mappers to make map for Half-Life 2 beta, and there were quite a lot of maps made for this competition. And this map, well, it's not its original name, Ifri Gurulas, but this map was made for this competition especially.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
I think it's because years later, Gurulas himself came to Valve Cut Content Discord and explained a bit of this stuff.
I think it was on Facepunch in this thread.
Maybe it was Facepunch.
Yes, it was Facepunch. So if you're watching our stream, I mean the map itself, you may notice that this map is heavily inspired by City 1704, but still it's quite different. I mean, the layout of the map is very different. I guess if it was entirely made by Celery, he took some...
it's more like restitched together from different parts.
Yes. It's
Frankenstein,
just
so to say.
He split the map onto few parts and connected them differently than the original.
Man, I just love the lightning of the source engine. Even in 2020, it just looks good, especially indoors.
I don't know. I think the engine is pretty outdated by today's standards.
Yeah, but today, everything is like, it looks like it's covered in Vaseline and very contrasting. Back then, in the source engine, everything looked more natural.
It has a very complex algorithm for static lighting, so
yeah, it's like
mostly convincing.
Mirror's Edge was made partly of pre-baked lighting. That's why it looks so good.
Was Half-Life 2's story inspired by any movies? Yes. It was inspired by many movies, actually.
Dark City was the inspiration for the first, the darkest beta stages of Half-Life 2. if you watch it, you'll recognize a lot of things. It's green sky, very strange but familiar buildings.
Yes, I think
any Half-Life 2 fan should watch that movie.
It was even mentioned by Valve.
Matrix was mentioned as an influence.
Yeah.
And if you heard of Kraken Base, it's heavily inspired by movie The Abyss.
Yes, I think this creature from Abyss could be possible inspiration for Hydra.
And Air Exchange looks a lot like Air Processor from Aliens. You know?
Yeah.
And yes, someone from Valve was
yes, it's very inspired.
A very big fan of Aliens. They even used a dialogue with Ripley and I forgot his name for testing the new SIM technology. I mean VCD.
Alien test, yeah.
Yes. I think what Psilocybin told us on the Russian-speaking stream was that this wall was originally more
closer.
Yes, it was closer, and he moved
he added a tunnel on the right.
Which one?
It's further on the street, near the wall.
This tunnel?
Yeah, for the tram. And he changed the arcade building.
Yes.
Which he took from another map, another fan-made fix of 617.
Strange, but I never played the fix he mentioned. I would like to. It's in this build, but the materials for it are missing.
Ricardo Perez is asking if Half-Life 2 beta or at some point in Half-Life 2 development had jeeps like in Half-Life 1, and I think there's no evidence for that.
Half-Life 2 still has the gibbing system, and lines and manhacks explode in gibs. It's just that human enemies don't.
Oh, so it's
the technology is still there.
It's working, but it's just not applied to humans. And
well, technically you have zombies which can be out.
No. With headcrabs and the saw and everything. So it's technically the same system, no?
It's the same system. It's just not used on every NPC. And it's probably because Valve wanted to show off the ragdolls, because those were new and fancy back in 2003, 2004.
Yeah, I can understand
and that. And the gibbing is more cartoony. It's not as realistic, so that's not what they wanted, probably.
Yeah, well, speaking of cartoony, Half-Life is a series that, well, first one was obviously very cartoony, but still, the series as a whole, even Half-Life Alyx, they somehow make it look a bit cartoony, but also very realistic and gross at the same time. For example, Half-Life Alyx, it looks like a pastel painting. But still you have those zombies and those dead bodies that are completely disgusting. And with Half-Life 2 is the same. When I played it in VR, I expected just normal life, but very low poly for 2004 and stuff like that. But I have noticed that a thing that you don't really notice consciously when you're watching it on the 2D screen, that the people are not just old graphics, but also very... They look cartoony. Kleiner, Breen, and Alyx, everybody else, they look like not trying to be realistic. And I think that's the strong suit of the series, if you get what I mean.
Dark Interval, by the way.
Yes, it was taken from City 17 mod. I think the whole Manhack arcade was taken from City 17
with
mod.
the exception of Soundscape, which is taken from Dark Interval Part 1, released in 2017.
Oh, and another thing about soundscape in this, this exact build, is that for some reason they don't work, I don't know, properly, because the distance they work on is very small, and sometimes if you walk just 3 meters from some object, you stop hearing its sounds.
I think it might be related to the way Map and Albert try this minigame.
What the author of the mod told me is that he took the script for this controllable method from some Garry's Mod add-on.
Oh.
It was something like controllable... I don't remember what exactly, but yeah.
Well, it looks better than... I don't know what we streamed back then, but there was a stream where you struggled a lot with the Manic Hack.
Oh, it was probably the old build where you control the Manhack NPC.
Maybe.
Because a lot of these controllable Manhacks are just hacked together. And they don't control well at all.
Here is something I wanted to add in City 17 mod, but I didn't have time and I just released mod as it was. And what I wanted to add was some control point with a bunch of Metrocops. And yeah, that's how we originally were to meet Barney in the old storyline, because he wasn't to appear in train station.
About that beer I owed you. It's me, Gordon.
And
Barney
nobody
from
knows what
Mesa.
happened in the
Sorry
train
for the
station.
scare. I had to put on a show for the cameras. I've been working undercover with
I
you.
don't think even Valve
I
knew.
can't take too long or they'll get suspicious.
There are some
I'm
notes
way behind
in
on my beating quota.
old friends vignette that something happened and Gordon was really
Man, that's what I was
scared about
afraid
what
of.
happened.
Get in here, Gordon,
He
before you
didn't
blow
really
my
like it.
cover.
But that's as far as we know.
Well, Gordon didn't like that he was teleported into some dystopian future. That is sure. Because I remember playing Half-Life 2 before even knowing what was Half-Life 1 all about. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Maybe the first game can explain. So I played the first game and it didn't explain anything. So yeah. I think it was a really cool move for them, because now with Portal 2, with Half-Life Alyx, they want to make sure that new players know what is happening. But not back then. They would just throw you in, and you didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Back then, I also was actually I first played Half-Life 1 and then Half-Life 2, but my playthroughs were separated by a few months, and it was so I played Half-Life 1 just a few months before Half-Life 2 was released. And I didn't understand a thing because I didn't speak English, but anyway, I really liked it.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I thought that
every Russian knows that feeling.
I thought that Father Grigory was making the zombies or something like that. But if you want an even more fucked up storyline, I played in this order: Episode 1, Half-Life 2. Episode 2, Half-Life 1. So that was... when I bought the Episode 1 pirated disc, it said that you don't need to have an Half-Life 2 installed. But it was a lie. That there was a lot of missing textures and missing models.
Oh.
So in the very beginning of Half-Life 2, all of the combined structures had this missing texture. You know, the purple with black. And I had a thought, it was like, is this a game error or is this the alien technology? Fun times.
And I had Half-Life 2 with the infamous AI disable bug. So
God, I don't envy you.
Everyone had it in Russia.
You know, when in episode 1 you and Alex, after the crash of the van in the very beginning in the Citadel, you just go across a combined bridge. The combined bridge model was missing. And I was stuck there because there was no apparent way to go, but I saw an exit on the other end of this fall. And I remember the Indiana Jones movie when he just had to take a step of faith. And I just went straight and it worked. So yeah, you guys, you fucking losers who played the official releases of Half-Life 2 and episodes, you're missing out on a lot of cool moments.
Not to mention that, of course, Half-Life 1 didn't have any music.
Yes.
And it works. It's fine.
Yeah, it's more atmospheric that way.
And you people are asking why Half-Life is so popular in Russia. Here's why.
We don't know, because it's set in Russia. Back then it was a very different feeling to have a game set in your place, you know. Even now it's very rare.
It's funny because Valve didn't want to make Half-Life 2 in American setting because they decided, no, it's boring, I live
They were
here.
sick of it.
I'm sick of it. And so they made the Eastern Europe, and now all Eastern Europe went, wow, I live here, cool.
Genius. Now there's a lot of game that does this, and I'm okay with it. I just want a game set in my small Ukrainian town, and then I can die happy.
Well, there is such a game, it's called Stalker.
Well, I don't live in Pripyat.
Too bad for you.
I think I'm good. So, commenter Vrabo is saying Half-Life is popular in Russia for the same reason why Serious Sam is so popular there. No one knows.
From what I understand, this map was taken from City 17 mod as well, because in...
No, it has a custom Lamar script.
Yes, but that's basically the only thing that was...
It's just a very basic fix with not much added.
Now come on, let's go.
Because... Do you guys have a lot of Trabants and ladders and other strange cars like that where you live? Or is that just a stereotype?
Dr. Kleiner, look who's here.
Blast that little...
It's... Half-Life 2 was made after...
Someone here to meet you.
It was made like the memory of 80s, so it has a lot of old cars. And now it's, of course, all new cars.
Is it really?
You can see some, but not as many.
Freeman.
And have you guys seen any Trabants in your life in Russia? Because in Ukraine I didn't see any.
My work is ruined.
It's okay, Doc, relax. So far we haven't...
It's more of a Eastern German thing than Russia or Ukraine.
For Eastern
I've
Germany.
seen more Lamborghinis than
It would
Trabants.
jeopardize not
in
only
my city.
Gordon's years.
I've seen a black mate Lamborghini today, and it's not a very big city.
Of course, I'm delighted to see you. Absolutely delighted. You look a bit pale, but nothing like... By God, Barney, they'll be scouring.
There's people saying that they have knowledge of Russian cars because of Half-Life 2, so it's also an educational game.
I didn't
Not
like
all of them are Russian, though.
how they made those cars in Half-Life Alyx, because they don't look like the original cars anymore.
No, they look similar to somebody who knows them.
Eli's place
Well,
is a hell of a
Volga
lot
is,
closer, but I'm not
doesn't
taking
really
Gordon
look
out
like
in his
Volga
cities.
anymore in Half-Life Alyx.
Yes, the sooner you're suited up, the better.
I haven't seen Volga for a lot of time. For me it looks similar, you know. 6 years living in Europe, for those who don't know, and yeah, it just foggy memory this time.
Oh man, you have no idea how tired I am of all these scenes with Kleiner and Barney at Kleiner's lab.
Yeah.
It's just, since I was fixing, I think, well, no, not exactly. I wasn't the first one to restore this scene because there was another guy, I don't remember his nickname. I saw his YouTube video, his fix of Kleiner's lab. And that's
for Dark Atmosphere, right?
Yes.
It wasn't 3 parts on YouTube.
First,
this was the first
it was
fix
Dark
I
Atmosphere, right? But then there was another guy. I don't remember his nickname. I think he was working on.
No, not up there.
Damn it! Get it off me!
No, those
I forgot the mod's name. Along with Stucker.
Oh, fine. It'll be another
So
week
anyway, while I was fixing
this
this scene for City 17 mod,
Gordon, go ahead.
there was so many playthroughs of me with all these scenes to make sure everything works fine that it makes me sick now.
Well, Gordon, I see you've slipped into your HEV suit. I've made a few adjustments, but still in all...
And somebody mentioned Gmod. I want to say a interesting fact that Vitoy actually doesn't like Gmod and he didn't play it at all or very much, I think.
I only played it once in 2008 or 2009.
Wow. Can you guys imagine that?
And no,
and you trust this guy with the beta. You trust him with the beta.
I don't even have Gmod standalone.
Now,
one can only imagine how he lived all these years.
We have enabled the HEV suit to draw power from a variety of common combined charging systems using a standard UBC interface. This will allow you to
works
devices utilized by the Metro Police.
In Half-Life Alyx, we don't even get his head, we don't get his dick, we don't get his anything.
And we'll move on
you mean Cremation?
Practices.
In the Half-Life Alyx. And he was in the concept arts, so they just cut him like a tradition to cut the cremator.
Charge your suit, Gordon. Very good. Now, the same interface is often useful in treating injuries. If you come across a combine automedic like this one, you seem to be slightly fatigued. Why don't you go ahead and administer some healing agents as well? Go ahead, Gordon. Try out the automedic.
And I also like how in the beta, the health charger is very slim. In Half-Life 2, it's like normal size. And in Half-Life Alyx, if you actually look at it when it's closed, it's very thick, it's very wide. So, can't wait for Half-Life 3 when it takes up a whole wall.
It will be a whole room with something like Bacta in Star Wars.
But Gordon is a special case. We can't just send him into the wilderness with a sharpened stick and our best wishes. He needs to go somewhere his education can be put to good use. Now, let's proceed, shall we? This way, Gordon.
This was before shaders. Shaders weren't in the Half-Life 2 beta, no? I think they were added after.
Actually was a special shader called Glue and Glass for Glue and Glass, and it doesn't work on retail anymore.
But it's the same technology that's in the retail, more or less?
Yes, it's just in a more unique combination of effects. It has a scrolling
kind of
texture.
similar to Surface of Water, I think.
Yeah.
This shader.
This should only take a moment.
By the way, an interesting thing about these cameras. Originally, I wanted to implement some monitors with different views of teleporter, but I just didn't realize that it doesn't work in Half-Life 2 beta. I think it doesn't even work in Half-Life 2 retail. I mean, few
multiple RT textures.
Multiple monitors at the same time.
Well, if you have played Gmod, then you would have known that. So that's your fault.
Tell her I'll smuggle him out to Eli's place.
We were wondering if Eli's colony might not be the best place for him right now. As my
he also, for some reason, removed Barney's helmet from here.
And here is the infamous desk hitbox that's not moved, but the desk is.
Yes. So the thing about hitbox is that it's 90 degrees rotated, yes.
It's an error on compilation. That happens with some plugins.
As in teleport?
Yes, is something wrong? I've run 7 sequences without a single failure. The initial protocol you developed and then another I devised with the new specs. Don't tell me of all people you aren't functional yet.
Certainly not. I mean, I certainly...
Sivoxler says, map base now lets you have multiple monitors. We're still safe from having to play Gmod.
Yes.
He's like you.
Mapbox is
Everything here is in
great. I mean, map base.
Map base. What the fuck is that?
Oh, if you don't know what map base is, go to YouTube and search for it.
I'm a casual who only made maps for...
It will blow your mind.
Oh no.
Which makes mapping and modding more convenient.
Well, it might be an unpopular opinion, but if mapping for source was more convenient, it would not be as interesting. I think the magic of it is that you want to kill yourself. That's the good part.
I'm telling you, we should be heading for Eli.
If it was easy, it would not be good. It would not be interesting.
It doesn't make it easy, it just makes it less obnoxious.
Yeah, but will I still want to kill myself after mapping with source?
Yeah, so map base is basically what Valve were supposed to do with modding community, but they didn't.
But I gotta tell you,
On the Valve developer wiki, they still say that source, you should choose source for your mod because we have support and everything. And that page wasn't edited since like 15 years. Oh, Sivox has put a good explanation. So map base is like LeakNet, but for retail.
Right.
So blame VXP for everything.
I guess mapbase has someone like VXP, so blame mapbase VXP.
Blame Blixibon. Yep.
we're not out of the woods yet.
Now, if you'll climb down into the chamber...
Vitoy, do you, without jokes, without any humor, do you think that not counting the Valve developers, that anybody knows these maps better than you?
Yeah, except for this gnawing certainty
Which, the better maps?
Is there the laboratory maps with the Kleiner and everything, not counting the developers, of course? Do you think that any other person in the world knows them better than you? Has spent more time on them than you?
You mean whole WC map pack?
No, this part with the laboratory that you're sick of.
You mean Kleiner's lab?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I spent pretty much time with this map. I spent about 3 months, I think, to fix it, to make the scene and all this.
Yeah, and since nobody else fixed it as well as you do, how does it feel to be the only person in the world who cares about this map?
I don't care about this map anymore because it's fixed.
well cared at some point.
There's still many things I would like to add or change or tweak, but maybe in 5 years. Because for now I'm too tired of beta.
Yeah, you should recreate it in Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, I can see how you're tired. Playing the beta mod.
Oh,
I've got this one.
no. I thought the scripts are broken, but no. But anyway, I don't play it as much as I played it, for example, a year ago or more.
Well, I confess I'm a bit surprised that actually worked. I guess Kleiner is farther along than I thought. Welcome to Kraken Base, Dr. Freeman, our home beneath the sea. It's an honor and a pleasure to finally meet you. I've heard so much about your part in the Black Mesa incident. I don't suppose Dr. Kleiner has
She's
told
so
you a thing about
dumb.
me.
She could let
I'm
him
Elaine
out,
Mossman,
and Half-Life 2
director.
would never happen.
Although we don't use formal titles
And she
down
just
here.
talk
I'm
and
just
talk and
another
talk.
researcher doing my part
Yeah,
in
I
the
wanted to
business.
make a mod for
Now,
Half-Life
let
2
me get
where
out
you
there.
just go to Nova Prospect
Wait a
and
minute.
the game
No?
ends.
You mean
In the beginning.
Black Mesa East?
No, in the very beginning, where if Barney would not be on the shift, you would just go to Nova Prospect, and you would be turned into a stalker, and the end. Oh,
That would
well,
be a nice mod.
shooting lasers out of your eyes would be a great mod, but it's not inside my abilities.
And here's a model Civic Salary hates the most.
It's a reskin.
It's very skin. Maybe Civic Salary hates the green model too. Who knows? So in the chat, Civic Salary admits that he's incompetent. Nothing else matters. It reminds me of the Sen moment in the first Half-Life.
See if you can climb out through there. And hurry! We sort of blew our cover.
And also Civic Salary hates the shaders.
For the last time, forget about that thing.
She's helpless without
I'll be back in a
Why
second.
does he hate the shaders?
Who doesn't hate the shaders, man?
Have you tried recompiling the shaders?
Have you ever seen the shaders? It looks like Vaseline. It looks like shit. A real big boy games look like concrete and not like Vaseline. I'll be back in a second.
Here, take this part of Kleiner.
And that's it.
So yeah, here's the explanation. The modification is based on Civic Salary's maps, and Arcade and Kleiner's lab are based on City 17 mod. And there's an Easter egg. He told me that originally he wanted to add someone else, I don't remember, I think maybe even Lamar, but it didn't work as he wanted it to work, so he added Stalker instead. Alright, so here's full list of what can be found in this build.
It includes all other maps that I have fixed and compiled under this old base.
Yes, the ones we streamed about.
And they are kept as they are. And they were streamed a year ago, yes, in English too, so if anyone wants to see them.
Yeah,
but still there are some maps which could be shown by us right now.
Hazard 01? B?
No.
No?
Wait, I can't find it. Well, for example, we can show you Particle Storm.
Oh, yes, an amazing map.
Oh. Here's Dark Interval Park 2.
Spoilers.
So it's basically just an effect of Particle Storm, like a test of effect.
Yeah.
That's from Half-Life 1, no? Something similar.
Wait, where is this map? I wanted a specific map and I forgot its name.
What was this about? What was it about?
It was about Father Grigori.
Ah.
And
it's the first map in the list, I think.
Civoxeler is saying, I wanted X, but it didn't work, so no. Everything better related to this.
Oh no, it starts as AS seal test.
Ah. here's the best map of Dark Interval. I want you to hear everything.
That's actually would be the most influential Hideo Kojima moment of Half-Life 2. But they didn't have the balls to do it. And to answer Sivox, as we discussed in the Russian stream, that every beta mod starts with I wanted to do this, but the engine won't allow it. It's like I wanted from personal experience I'm speaking. I wanted a Metrocop to go through the fucking door in the most normal map ever, but he didn't go, so that's where my beta mode ended. And I encourage everybody to start a beta mode so they could see how it's impossible to make a Metrocop to go through the door, and they would understand and pay respects to anybody who finished a beta mode, because they have gone through a lot of shit to do that. To do the even most mundane thing, they had to cry for days. So you have to respect that.
The leak engine, right?
I loved making maps on the leaked engine, but they never worked.
Because Metrocops are almost brain dead in the leak.
Yeah, it's like
Sivox used them for his previous contest map, and yeah.
It's not some entity. There was no area portals, or it's just open space through a door frame made of brushes. Why don't you go? Nobody knows.
I think we streamed this map a year ago, but anyway, It's pretty cool.
Nobody remembers anyway, and people watch us for our wonderful personalities anyway, so it's okay.
I really like how this map was made. I mean, the mood and everything. I don't know. And it was even before, I think, I wrote a letter to Mark Laidlaw and asked him what exactly was supposed to happen in Kraken. It was when he said something about Stalker army.
Mm-hmm.
Helena Mossman and her army of stalkers.
Yes.
We still don't know what exactly was happening at the Kraken, but now we have the concept arts. The Cabals.
Yes, and Mark could be referring to a different stage of development than those of the concept arts.
You know what?
Long story short, he raised a lot more questions that were answered.
We must ask a guy who makes videos about toilets in video games to make a video about Half-Life 2 beta. And this is definitely the first location for his list. And
well, you know, there's no toilets in release Ravenhall, so that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a question. I think it was Surgeon Secker asked it. That there's really no toilets in Ravenhall.
Maslin Brunner is asking about the army of stalkers. In one of the emails, you can just Google the Mark Laidlaw emails archive or anything. That he said that you would be welcomed by Mossman and her army of stalkers. And no context, no information other than that. You just have to
guess.
Guess, yeah. And I think, I'm sorry, I think that was just how they made games back then. It was just different concepts day by day. Nothing was fixed, like the air exchange. It could be something that made the atmosphere breathable for advisors or aliens, or it could be a turbine that was spinning because of the portal that was sucking off the Earth atmosphere. it's like it was never fixed to a certain thing. It was just like flowing, you know.
Oh, there's one. So Accelerator even made
battery in the suit charging station.
Made how it's called, like a puzzle.
Battery puzzle, because everyone likes those.
Everyone has to have a battery puzzle. I remember we were playing a mod from the same Run Things Should Live website. There was a battery puzzle inside it, but it would accept any prop. So we would put with my friend a barrel into the battery compartment and it would work. So we would imagine that it was like shorting the contacts with the barrel, and it still works with the two batteries. It's stupid, but yeah, that's Half-Life mods for you.
The second battery is in that room where you have a light shining on the wall and there's a shadow from a fan.
I don't even remember where this
is. Somewhere around that.
Ah, this one.
And the exclusive information from Svoxlary, the maker of the mod, that it was cancelled and rebooted because people could not use the battery puzzle.
Oh yeah, it's this one. The one you just looked at.
Yeah. This one?
Yeah, it's there somewhere. I think it's maybe in one of the lockers.
Oh man, I just saw the episode 1 projector model, you know, the suitcase that Alex had in this room that you were inside. Did you notice it? Vitoy?
Wait, what were you talking about?
The suitcase projector that Alex had in the beginning of episode 1 to speak to her father.
Yes.
It was in that room. And even though it was in 2006, for my brain it's like, wow, this is a new modern model. Why is it here in this old mod? I still can't accept the fact that 2006 and 2007 was 13 years ago. I still view episode 2 as something new. I think I have no hope in the real world.
Yeah, it's just we never get episode 3, so episode 2 is still something new for us.
Yeah, we live in 2007. And Svoxlary is saying that no, people told me that I cannot do the battery puzzle for the 5,000th time. So that's the sole reason for the dark interval to be delayed for so long. It just takes him and Shift 10 years to design the levels without the battery puzzles. If not the battery puzzles, what else? You know, that's why they have to figure it out.
Wow, he even added flooded parts of Kraken.
Of the map.
Default texture, very sexy.
So I guess there's nothing really else to show in this build, because main part was this chapter. Well, these two first chapters. There's also air exchange maps, some canals maps, Eli's, then
more Seed 17 maps, the other ones.
Borealis, aka Hyperborea, and few other. Vertigo, but you can play them yourself already by downloading Dark Interval all build. Well, not this one exactly, but the one released by Shift. And the link, by the way, is on our website, because we have a page in our downloads for it. And about this mod, I mean, this exact mod with all these maps from City 17, it will be available for download in about a month. Because Psilocybinum said that he will release it eventually. If you want to release it in nearest week, he will release it sometime this December.
And in case someone doesn't want to download from the site, I put a Google Drive link with the mirror. And there's also another old build of Dark Interval. It's called Anthology Demo, released in 2013, and I'm putting that in the chat too.
That was the one that people complained about, no? About the voice acting or something like that?
No, people are complaining about the current release build and its voice acting, because old ones don't have voice acting at all.
Well, I mean, the latest had different voice acting, I think. Before that, there was some verticons that were a bit strange. I didn't follow it so well, so I don't know.
People still say they're strange, so...
Well, people suck. Don't listen to the people.
Alright, it's official. Sortie said in the chat box that there will be battery solving puzzles.
Every time there's the battery puzzle, the game gets delayed by 10 years. And every time someone mentions the shift is a girl, the game delay gets delayed 20 years. So
but
you can
since
count
it's
that.
Not a game, it won't get delayed. I mean, it's a mod after all.
Yeah. But no.
So I guess we're almost at the end of our today's stream, and as we always do, we can just read your questions if you have any and answer them. That's our tradition. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them right now. It could be about anything. Well, since we have Shift with us, maybe she will talk about the part 2 of Dark Interval.
And we have Svoxler in chat, so ask away.
Just don't ask when.
Ask where.
And before we get any questions, I will just remind you that this was a mod made by a developer of Cremation, another Half-Life 2 Beta related mod, and this mod was based by it was based on older builds of Dark Interval released by Escalator like last year or so. He just took those maps and added some of his own stuff, added some stuff from City 17 mod, added some new models and reskins, and that's it. And it's not yet available for download, but it will be available for download in about a month.
Questions. Maslin Brunner asks, what the fuck is a particle storm and how it would be revealed in the game? Do we know?
Well, I'm not telling any spoilers.
No, I mean in the Half-Life 2 beta, the official sources, do we have any information on how it would be?
The only information we have is dialogues, temporary dialogues recorded for Eli Maxwell, where he describes it as flickering green light, and that it's pretty powerful creature, and he believes that it's sapient. Another source, but it's not really a source, more like snippet of code, can be found in Half-Life 2 beta code, and everything that could be found there was not exactly restored, but VXP made a mock-up of it just to to see how it looked like.
There's a prototype visual effect for it, and some hints and mentions of what the AI itself could do, but there's no trace of AI itself.
Yes.
Like, it mentions something like picking up rocks. And who knows what that's supposed to mean.
There is NPC particle storm in Half-Life 2 beta Hammer, but it doesn't work. It's just mentioned in FGD file. And we have a video about particle storm on our channel. You can try and find it.
I have two fuck, my microphone is falling. I have two questions. Three questions. First, my chips has fallen on the ground. Second one, to Sivoxalary. If you're in chat, if you have been in the chat for the whole evening, why the fuck didn't you want to join the stream with the voice? And the third question is... The third question is for Vitoy, is that video that you have had unlisted on the channel with the on the sky bridge of the rooftops, I think. After the rooftops, there were a sky bridge with the ambient generic or ambient something like that, with those very strange war sounds. You know what I mean? Why did you delete that video?
I just recorded it to show in Discord. I never planned it to release.
Well, I think you should make a video to release because I want to send it to some people. So the special request from me.
Anyway, there's a question: how long does it take to make one single section of a map? I'm not sure to whom this question is addressed. I never...
The answer is pretty universal because there is no fixed time. You can spend a week on one map, or you can spend a month or several days.
Or you can spend like...
You can predict something like that.
You can spend just one evening making a geometry, and then you can spend another week trying to fix some bug.
Yeah, you... After an hour, you get very tired of the beta hammer, or of any hammer release, or Alex, or anything. It's just terrible.
Where do you get all the voice actors for the mod? And if episode 4 Return to Ravenholm build gets magically leaked, will you guys do some fixes for it?
No.
Well, the first question is addressed to Shift, I guess.
Well,
where do you get all the voice actors?
We put up a call asking for actors once on our ModDB, and we got our Barney and Kleiner voice actor that way, and most of other voices are either ourselves or some people from community who kindly agreed to do some voicing. So it's mostly the community.
About episode 4 Return to Ravenholm, that's definitely what people begin to do, trying to fix it into playable state, but...
If it gets leaked.
Yes.
Leak it first and then we'll see.
I think it's more likely it won't get leaked. It more likely be officially released by Arcane, but anyway, the chances are pretty low.
Yeah, I don't think they will release it officially. Even Valve don't want to release officially their old builds or models or anything, so this is even less likely.
Another question is, when will you correct your volume on Discord, Vitoy? Well, never! I guess... Ah! It's just, it was really, really far from me. Sorry.
I'm sorry too.
Yeah, it's not an issue with Discord. It's an issue with my microphone that it's pretty far from my head. Well, it was pretty far.
An important question from myself. What is the name of the cat?
That's a secret.
That's a secret, okay. I can respect that. But my props to the cat. Xivoxaler asks, question to the streamers. Name one thing you most miss from the beta. Something that was really already in the game, but was cut between 2003 and 2004. For me, it was the Wasteland. It's simple.
It wasn't exactly cut. It was just evolved into Coastline.
It wasn't exactly cut. It was never made because I tried. Some days ago, I tried to look at some beta Wasteland maps for inspiration, and there are almost none of them. And those that are there, they're just empty and bare bones.
Yeah, but still a cool concept.
Concepts are very cool.
Yes. Yeah. It was technically featured in Half-Life 2 in the teleporting scene, so yeah.
Speaking about me, I really liked the controllable missiles.
Of course.
I really like the idea. I also always enjoyed them in Postal 2, for example. And the ones in Half-Life 2 beta were made pretty interesting as well.
And they control nicely, unlike the Manhack.
Yeah. And also I really liked Wasteland launcher thing. It could be interesting, but of course it needed much work on it.
It probably would need to be an NPC instead of 1,000 of brush entities.
Yeah. So what about you, Shift?
Yeah, it's cool. I'm not even sure because I'm so busy thinking about Dark Interval. I just don't think about beta itself as much. So
okay, another question for streamers. What would something you would want to see in the Dark Interval from the beta? For me, for me, it's a simple answer: the train ride. Made in, you know how Dark Interval looks like now, the release. I want this quality, but for the train ride. Even if I'm locked in place, I don't care. I just want to see it.
We're considering a train ride, but when you leave the depot instead of the intro.
The train ride between depot and air exchange.
Yeah. That one train ride.
Do we have any relationship to the G-String developers?
Well, no. She was frequent visitor of our streams back in the days. I frequently saw
comments on streams, and sometimes we comment on each other mods on ModDB, and we both have played G-String, and Ayara has played Dark Interval, so we know about each other.
Maybe a bit insensitive question, but is it a she or a she? You know, was she born?
Are you talking about?
I'm talking about the curse of Half-Life 2 beta.
Are you talking about
developers suddenly becoming girls?
Wait, who are you talking about?
I don't know the developer. I'm just asking for my curiosity. Maybe I should not do this live. I mean the G-String is amazing, but I was just asking if the girl who made the mod was always a girl.
Yes.
Okay.
And this person lives in Europe
for
years. How do they allow you?
Don't be a saint. Don't pretend to be a saint. Okay, next question.
Do you need help with textures? I'm not sure.
No, we're fine. Thanks.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Shift is a painter, and she has pretty interesting and beautiful stuff on her DeviantArt.
Yeah, so she's the one that made the cool
pretty
beta
experienced
art
with working in Photoshop and other editors. So I guess she alone can, meet everything they need for as for the textures. Well, I guess we can set the stream to the end because, well, we showed pretty much everything we wanted to show you this time. And I don't know about others, but I have some other things to do. And I think we answered enough questions for now. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining our stream. And thank you, Shift, for joining us as the speaker and providing us some information.
Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to tell something, go ahead. I mean, both of you. And then we end the stream.
I want to say that I'm thankful for the beta community for being so open and sharing their work with everybody else, especially Vitoy, because I know him personally. He's a really good, cool guy. And thanks to Shift and for her art and for her textures. I think you started with the textures, if I'm not wrong. And to anybody else, this is a great community. And even though we have discovered almost everything, you never know if there's going to be a new leak or not, like with the 2016 leaks. So just stay hopeful, and it's good.
Well, we didn't discover everything because there's Half-Life Alyx with another set of cut things. I personally didn't explore it yet, and I think I will. I never will, because I just don't have time right now for it. But still, it's another whole set of things cut from the game to be discovered. So I guess this is where we get off, like Jimon says. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
Good night.